Hey, Sherry.
Hi, Mark.
Well, here we are. Today we're in a little bit different place. We are in the Rabbi study. And the reason is because we are actually on Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because we have a guest joining us today in our weekly message, and it's our friend Or Zohar, Rabbi Or Zohar. Hi, Or.
Hi, Or.
Hi, Shalom, Marc. Shalom, Sherry. How are you?
We're doing okay.
But we want to know how you are and how your family is, and if you can tell us how you feel.
Yeah, but before we do, let's give a little context. You know, there are some people who may not, they may be new to Temple Emanu-El and might not know but Or has been to visit us 3 times.
Yes.
And 2 artist in residence programs, and then once it was traveling through, and we had a wonderful sing along on the beach. Got interrupted by rain, but it was really wonderful. Yeah. So Or has been our friend for a long time, and we've stayed in touch. And so when everything erupted in Israel more than a week ago now, one of the first thoughts on my mind is what's going on, especially with our friends like Or. So we are really grateful that Or can join us this morning. So back to Sherry's question, Or, how are you and your family doing?
Well, to be honest, we've been better. These are not a good time for our family and for many other families in Israel. When war broke out, we were in our serene community in the Galilee mountains, and have experienced many stressful and scary days, traumatized by everything that happened. We have one daughter who is in the IDF right now, and we're praying that she's safe. Actually, the rest of the family is in transition. We are on our way to some work that was planned in advance in London, and then in the United States, some rabbinic work, some concerts, some fundraising, and we had to leave early in fear that the airport will be closed. So the family is now separated. The other children, my wife and I, are safe now, and we're in Europe, in Austria, in fact, on our way to London. And we're very worried about our daughter back home, and we feel here in Europe a bit like refugees, maybe much like refugees. I remember only a year and a half ago, I was in a rabbinic delegation offering aid and help to Ukrainian refugees, and I was looking at those families coming out of the Ukraine into Poland with only suitcases and very small little belongings. And now we are one of them fleeing Israel. And although going for a good cause of helping Israel outside of its borders, we now know how it feels firsthand, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's to hear you say that, it reminds us, I think, of the fragility of life, and sometimes the lines between where you are now, or feeling like a refugee, and where you sat 2 weeks ago. Sometimes that line is really thin, and all the more reason that people like us, Sherry and I, and our community sitting here in Connecticut, all the more so that we know that we have to be there to help if we can, from the great distance that we are. So I know a lot of people in Connecticut, they want to help if they can. But before we get there, I want to let people know a little bit, since we have you for a few minutes, about a little bit about where you live in Israel, Hararit, the region, what's going on there. One of the things that we really would like to know from people in Israel is what's going on. We do hear quite a bit from places that are a bit closer to Gaza. But there's a whole, very small country, and nobody's all that far from it. So we're wondering how your community is doing. And then maybe if you could mix in there, or if you would, a little bit about the organization that you have grown around Harit, and that's the Spirit of the Galilee, which I know of, and explain how the pluralism that you are trying to encourage there where you live.
Yes, well, I live in a village, as you said, called Harit. It's part of the Misgab Regional Council. It's in the Galilee. I checked now because I never checked before. We are 15 miles as the crow flies from the Lebanese border. May only crows fly from that border in the next few hours, days, and weeks. Our area is beautiful, very culturally mixed. There are Jewish communities, there are Arab communities, for the most part, and even now living in peace side by side. So I am the Reform Rabbi of that region. I'm in charge of promoting pluralistic Judaism in those communities of Jews. And as you said, Rabbi Ekstrand, about 3.5 years ago, I realized that doing work for my Jewish neighbors and community members is not enough. That really my mission in the region is to do something which also involves the non-Jews, Arabs, Muslims, Christians, and Druze who live there. And we develop a few projects that bring those communities together, promoting a vision of peace, equality, collaboration between communities in the Galilee, as what we would hope become one day a vision for the entire country. However, it seems like our efforts right now have been less successful, and the country is once more, unfortunately, undergoing a terrible and almost unprecedented, actually, a wave of violence. This is what we do there. And since the war broke out, people have been in trauma. People have been in a sense of fear and anxiety that attacks are going to come from all over. Some people fled. The people have been creating kind of a militia in the village, in fear that the police and the army will not be there to protect them should something happen, because this is what happened down south. I can also say that what's happening in our community and our communities is horrible, but is also beautiful, because you really discover how people volunteer and how people rise to the challenge, and how people give to one another and come together in difficult times. So it's actually beautiful to see that. Alongside other things that we are seeing, which when war breaks, the people suffer. People, jobs are being lost. Many people who are usually more in need are becoming more needy now. So it's a very complex situation which we find ourselves in the Galilee right now.
Yeah.
And I will say one more thing: Jews and Arabs alike, because if you look at the big political picture, you see like, oh, it's us and them, and you see the Palestinians and Hamas against Israel and the other players in the region, et cetera, et cetera. President Joe Biden comes and goes, and all those geopolitical things are taking place. But if you look at the ground, the little person who suffers, it makes no difference if he or she is a Jew or an Arab. And I know that it's horrible to be a Jewish Israeli right now. It's no less horrible to be an Arab Israeli right now. Everybody is suffering.
Or, I'm going to ask you a question we hadn't really talked about beforehand, but occurs to me. And if you don't like the question, we'll edit it out. But, you have explained to me and others, I study Kabbalah with you sometimes, and you've explained to our Kabbalah group some of the shared celebrations that you've created there between Muslims and Christian, and Druze and Jews, shared religious celebrations, spiritual gatherings. You know, one of the ways that you've explained it is, you know, we have more in common than we have differences. And that when we play on that, then beautiful things happen. And I think that is really the direction that we need to go. But then when something like October 7th happens, how does that affect you personally as a rabbi involved in creating these pluralistic spaces where people really can come together? What does that do to you when this great earth-shattering thing happens? How does that affect your sense of purpose?
Well, aside from the personal pain and worry and tears that I have for my family, for my neighbors, for everyone that I love in Israel and in other places too who are affected, and my worry about what this is doing to Israel and to Jewish people all over the world, I think that we don't understand that yet. I will say that quite the implications of what's this ongoing wave of violence is going to do to our people. I think that in a deep sense, if I rise above all that, it only makes the conviction in our purpose stronger, because, you know, for years we've been saying, you know, this direction of racism, of Jewish supremacy mixed with corruption of power in Israeli society and especially in its government, this neglect of civil servants who forgot who they're serving and who should be serving who, all this mess, which is spiritual and moralistic corruption, in my opinion. This is what has brought us to this point. And it only makes my belief in what we've been saying all the time stronger, that we must provide a pluralistic and humanistic interpretation of Judaism in Israel for Israel to remain strong, that we must look at the non-Jews who live in our country, mainly Arabs, as our equals, that if you only walk in arrogance, thinking that you will live there as a ruler of the land because of the might of your army, one day that will fail you. Even as I was joining the guards in my village, and I was taking night shifts and day shifts before we had left every day almost, and I was sitting there and I was assisting the village to receive some arms from the governor's office and to arrange all those necessary security precautions. I was telling my friends that I could trust, I was telling, you know, we're getting guns now, but those guns are not going to protect us in the long run.
Yeah.
Our village has a fence. That fence will not protect us. The only thing that is really going to protect us is having good relations with our Arab neighbors, is living with respect and with equality for the long term. It's very hard to hear those things right now as we're facing violence, but there's only one choice. We have to understand that these things are true. And unfortunately, the horrible thing that we're seeing now only prove that to be right.
Yeah. What a really terrible thing to have to carry on all of your shoulders is this really immediate need to protect yourself in the face of ruthless violence or the potential of ruthless violence. And also to keep thinking about what is the long game here and where are we really headed, right? So wow, you have big shoulders and it's all on them. So I really feel for you and your family and all the people around you in Israel. What a tremendous load to carry. We all see that here in the United States. We see the pain. We have watched far too many videos, far too many news reports, and we feel just a little bit of that, but from a distance. And many of us are wondering here in the United States, well, what can we do? How can we be helpful? And we're all sitting here, I think, multiple times a day, Googling, how can we help? So, or what can we do to help in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, as you said, in the long term, in the broad picture, there will be a time when we'll be sitting and make teshuva. Israelis, but also American Jews. How did we let the Jewish people get to this low point? What have we forgotten? Where were we lazy? Where did we turn the other way? What should we have done in order to never ever get to this place of destitution and trauma that we're all in now? But right now, as you said, we have more immediate needs. I think that in the face of war, what we need to do is to protect the people, alleviate their pain. As someone who just came out of the horrible situation in Israel, I can tell you that war has many ugly faces, and it hurts, soldiers on the ground. It hurts in the battlefield, but it also hurts the civilians, and this has so many different levels on a of course psychological level of trauma and fear and anxiety, but also in very, very mundane and physical needs, because once things start to deteriorate because of war, and the powers in society that usually can help people are stretched out, people need things. I can tell you that, for example, in our village, and this is true for other villages as well, but I know my community best, people are, busy protecting the village while trying to provide for their kids. Businesses are being closed. People have financial problems. People need to renovate and improve the domestic safety rooms in their homes, discovering that the window is broken or that the door is malfunctioning, and they don't have ways to do that. There's no schools. Kids are at home all the time. They can't go to school because the county can't account for the safety of the school buses, so they're home, and then people have to deal with that. We have many people are drafted, so women stay behind. Young soldiers are drafted, like my daughter is in the army. Everybody is worried. We have one family in the village who's with a young family that the mother's parents are actually kidnapped into Gaza, and people are trying to help them and provide for help their babysit their children, etc. But you can imagine the horror and the pain and the agony that this family is in, and the community is trying to assist, but the community itself is threatened and traumatized. So these are very hard times. The village needs equipment. We're thinking of all sorts of scenarios. Power shortages, so we need a generator. How will people have internet if there's no internet? How will we WhatsApp and SMS messenger one another if there's no electricity? People need different security measures. There's so much need in times of war, and I'm thinking mostly as a spirit of the Galilee and someone who's really a leader within the community, that who I'd like to help most is those simple people and who fall between the cracks in time of war, because in the end, America will raise $10 million and buy the IDF some bombs and missiles and equipment, but who will fall behind in times of war, and who will help them? Those people now in those villages, in those communities, they need relief. And sometimes leaders in the Galilee, people in our leadership with the spirit of the Galilee, such as myself, who are rabbis, who are pastors, who are sheikhs in the community, we know who those people are and we know how to help them. So if people want to help now, One option is to give to the Spirit of the Galilee. We have actually an easy way to donate money, and it's tax deductible in the United States. So you can make a tax deductible secure donation through our website, and then we are going to collect those funds and go to the charity committee in the village. Go to the people who run the security committee in the village, to the village board, to the community board, and say, what do you need? We have a list, from equipment to charity to helping families to supporting people psychologically to helping with childcare, repairing homes and security rooms. There's so much that we need right now. This is a good time to open up your hearts, to open up a little bit of your savings, and help out the people of the Galilee in their hard time.
Okay, so we are going to put links in the video notes, how people can find the Spirit of the Galilee, and also check out the web pages there at the Spirit of the Galilee, and for our audience, you'll see the good work that Or and his companions do. And what we just heard Or say is that I think, or you correct me, but that you're going to direct those funds where they're needed in Harit to help people that otherwise may be waiting a long time for help. So we'll provide those links. I just want to say we really appreciate, Or, you're taking the time to talk with us on this Thursday afternoon. And it is really good to see your face. I've exchanged some WhatsApp messages with you, but this is actually the first time I've seen your face in a while, and it's really good to see you and know that you are okay, see that you're okay. And what a blessing that is for us. We do hope, we know you're on your way to London and then to the United States. I'm hoping that maybe we'll have a chance to get together again, maybe do another chat with you, maybe with some friends joining us too. And then maybe when you get to the United States, if you have the time and it fits your schedule, we're here, and we'd love to have you visit Southeastern Connecticut again. And just thanks for spending time with us, Or. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rabbi, and thank you, Sherry. It's good to see you. It's good to have friends all over. Thank you for being with us, with my community, with my people, in this time, in these difficult times for our people.
Okay, thanks again, Or. And for now, for our audience here in Connecticut, we're going to end our message here. You can find out everything that you need to know about what's going on at Temple Emanu-El on our webpage, twaterford.org, and in our weekly message. So for now, we'll say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.